An early outcome of New Generation Navy was defining our signature behaviours. These behaviours describe our ideal culture, how we should live and work together on a day-to-day basis. They apply at sea and ashore, on duty and off, and focus on three important parts of Navy life: our people, performance and professionalism. They are nothing new for many of you. We all see and talk to people who live these behaviours every day and have always done so. The performance signature behaviours are all about how we contribute to our Navy through our jobs, not just by completing tasks, but by taking a look at your workplace and constantly working to make improvements. This can be done by managing budgets more efficiently, finding new ways to get the job done, and by giving your staff the opportunity to step up and make their own improvements, to leave it better than you found it. These are challenge and innovate, be cost conscious, fix problems, take action, and drive decision making down. This video, focusing on performance, will explore how Navy people are living the signature behaviours at sea and on shore.
The signature behaviour of challenge and innovate is definitely used on a daily basis by clearance divers and mine warfare sailors due to the remote nature of their work and also the unknown nature of the work in what they're going to encounter, whether it be conducting diving operations on ordnance or assisting in Queensland Flood Assist, where the conditions that they go to are unknown at the outset and they are forced to challenge and innovate on site, as are our mine warfare sailors when they're deployed to Southwest Pacific to deal with World War II ordnance and think of innovative ways to create the right environment in which to safely dispose of that ordnance.
Basically, with the Operation Brisbane Assist, we were given many challenging scenarios, and we were able to come up with solutions for those and carry out the job safely and within SOPs, and effectively got the job done in less than half the time that we expected to do the job.
Pretty much the most challenging things we do is the EOD, and most recently was when I was in Afghanistan on the Op Slipper, where I was a team leader of an EOD team and working in the desert in conditions from -20 to +55, disarming IEDs on a daily basis. You'd walk out pretty much outside the wire and you would not know what was you're going to encounter. That was probably the hardest thing, but with the tools and the training of our trade, it teaches you to adapt and overcome.
Cost consciousness is really, in my interpretation of it, is enabling people in the Navy across all ranks, and in my context in particular, the commanders and some of the people that are making some of the senior level decisions, enabling them with the proper data and information so that they can make cost-conscious decisions. There's a huge empowerment that takes place with a commander in both an operational and an administrative context if they can understand what their resource base is, what the implications are of using that resource base in an appropriate manner to achieve Chief of Navy's outcomes.
As far as cost consciousness, we're looking at it under the SOP. We're looking at the SIPA reform, which is Initiative 10. We're certainly looking at that and how we can do business better, how ANZ Expo can actually do business better under each of our initiatives. To be more cost conscious, we have a savings tracker, which we've defined where we believe our savings will be, and if the next lot of people in the project, or if the project, when the project continues and hands over to ANZ Expo, they should be able to actually track and define the savings and work it back so that it's quantifiable and it's achievable. They're fully assessed against capability, and that's why it's capability improvement. We're making sure that we don't impact capability, or if there is any impact upon capability, the Navy is well aware of it and well versed in knowing exactly what they will or they will not accept. So it's not just a slash and burn program. That's certainly not what it's meant to be. It will actually be certainly fully qualified and checked and verified.
We look at our capability on a daily basis, and that allows us to go to DMS and say, this is what we can do and this is how we can save Navy money. So by doing this, FFSUs around Australia have a lot of capacity and capability to save a lot of defence dollars that would otherwise go to external contractors.
I think the big future challenge is how do we continue to sustain it? In a perfect world, DNCI wouldn't need to exist, and it would be happening within each capability across Navy. And I think what we need to look at is how can we transition Navy into a space where that is the reality.
Our 4 goals as FSU from a national basis is to provide support maintenance to the fleet. We also want to support the DMO, and that's a cost-saving measure. We want to look after the people. We're a big organisation. We're over 1,000 in my tenure, representing 7% of the fleet, so 7% of the RAN in fact. So it's important that we look after our people, and of course we need to train our people so that when they return to sea, they know what they're doing, they know how to maintain the gear, and ultimately it saves us in maintenance costs. One of the main goals of FSU is to look after their people. We do this simply because we have so many people. And part of that is making sure that they're doing a job that's meaningful and helps them in the long term to go back to sea better prepared to fight and win. In recent times we've worked hard to make sure that the work we're doing is significant, it's satisfying for the person. Now we can't always achieve that, but we're working really hard with the groups and with the DMO to make sure we're included in that.
When a job comes up, normally the Kellic or an AB, whoever's got the job at the time, normally it's the Kellics, we'll draw up the plan they actually required for that job, and then we'd order it, the parts would come in, and then we'd delegate our able seamen and seamen to start on the job, welding and all that, and we'd supervise, and if they have any troubles they never hesitate to ask. And it gives them the opportunity with more hands-on work, because we've already had our opportunities, now we're passing it on to them, we just advise and direct them where they have to go.
The new guys, it's kind of harder because you have to teach them, but once they know their stuff then you feel comfortable letting them go and do it themselves. But yeah, from our PO and our Kellics teaching us what to do, it's much easier to instruct the younger guys.
One of the big signature behaviours for us is fix problems, take action. And in that regard, FSU are able to move at a moment's notice to, for instance, fly over to the Gulf and assist in a repair. We're also ready to move for ERDEFs and any other maintenance requirement that platform may need. And whether that platform needs personnel, maintenance work, or just mentoring, we're there to help.
Well, the sailors on this squadron are the subject matter experts in what they do. They've been encouraged to formulate new ways of doing business within the framework they have. And because of that, they've taken ownership of those new ways of doing business, and we have driven that decision making down to those sailors. And indeed, some of the new ways of doing business that we've come up with are now being rolled out across some of the other squadrons.
Our scenario was we had a flat tyre, a running land-on went wrong, and they blew a tyre on the starboard side. And then we had to make the decision to change the tyre on the line using a single point jack. Myself and my ABs made the decision, and using a single point jack we then passed it up to the chief to get authority through the warrant officer as well, noting that it was on the line with aircraft turning and burning, and they said okay, we went on with the job.
When we're able to drive those decisions down to their level, they get a sense of achievement in the task. They broaden their knowledge and experience base a lot quicker than if we were to manage them a lot more. So that by driving those decisions making down, they quickly contribute to the work environment, and at the end of the day have a real sense of achievement and sense of purpose in the workplace. We've had the opportunity, starting from scratch, to actually develop a different culture, if you like, to the other squadrons, and we've certainly embraced that opportunity. The sailors on the squadron have certainly been keen to have a more physical culture on the squadron. Additionally, they are a more experienced crew generally than the other squadrons, because we have hand-picked people to start off. Consequently, they have quite a high level of maturity, and with that comes, I guess, a stronger adherence to Navy values and the culture that we're trying to inculcate in this squadron.
For further information, contact your divisional officer or visit the NGN website on the Navy intranet.